Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar on creating business forecasts the AI way. My name is Tara Van Cleve and I'm a marketing event manager for the developer initiative here at Oracle. Today we're excited to show you how OCI Forecasting, a new AI service from Oracle, enables you to deliver univariate and multivariate time series forecasts through REST APIs and SDKs. If you do not currently have an Oracle Cloud account, we've got a special promotion with extra credits so that you can try OCI AI services and follow along with the demo today. To access the promo, please sign up using the same email that you registered with for today's event. We'll also be recording the session, and the link to the recording will be sent to you via email in the next couple of days. If you have any questions during the webinar, we've set up a channel in our developer public Slack called Oracle AI ML Services that you can access at this QR code or at bit.ly/odevrel_Slack. And once you're in, you'll land in the general channel first, and from there can search for this webinar channel. We'll also be checking the Zoom chat and the Zoom Q&A areas throughout the webinar, and we'll open up for live Q&A after the demo. Today's webinar will be presented by Akash Srivastav, Principal Product Manager, and Chirag Ahuja, Senior Data Scientist. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Akash.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening. So I'm Akash. I'm the Principal Product Manager in OCI AI Services. I am the Product Manager for OCI Forecasting. And today we'll be delivering the introduction and the demo about OCI Forecasting. We'll deliver that what is OCI Forecasting, why it is important, and how it exactly solving the problem, and also delivering the key differentiators which are not available in the market. And so let's get on. So just to give a brief that Oracle AI, where we have many AI services, OCI Forecasting is one of the newly launched AI services, which is currently in limited availability. So we have certain customers who are currently using in production, and we are engaging with certain customers very actively. But before that, we already have the OCI Digital Assistant, OCI Speech, OCI Language, OCI Vision, OCI Document Understanding, and Anomaly Detection. So these are already G8 services where customers are using, and OCI Forecasting is the newly adding into the list. And then we also have some machine learning services where we have OCI Data Science, Oracle Database Machine Learning, and OCI Data Labeling. So we'll move on the OCI forecasting. And just to begin with, right? So in current scenario, we all are looking for forecasting because we have many matrices, right, which we track. So for example, if you are having an organization where you will be having a sales revenue from or basically demand inventory, right? So you basically track a lot of matrices and you project for the future and then you plan it, right? In today's world, we use manual processes which are very tedious. For example, I've been interacting with the customers where I learned that they have like multiple type of means, like last 3 months of Friday means, or for example, last 3 months means, last 6 months means, and then they project for the future. Or they may have developed some heuristic approaches which helps them identifying the future sales, for example, if there's a sales forecast, right? But what happens is that they often get the complex part not done, which is, for example, if you have multiple additional variables, for example, for your sales forecast, if you have promotions, if you have price, if you have weather, right? Or for example, if you have store open, close, store location. So these are the complex features which are influencing your sales. Basically, that becomes very cumbersome for the manual. Even if you do it, and if you change one, for example, if you want to add one more additional features, then you just need to redo everything. And that becomes very complex in nature. And if you make some mistake, the cost is basically losing money in the competition, the customer experience, everything gets tuned on, right? And the additional features are so important that for example, in today's era, right, the customer experience is the key, right? So if you see that the conversion rate, churn rate, these all are very important features which has to be accommodated along with the price, promotions, weather, etc., whatever I was saying. So irrespective of you are doing the manual or the AI, these features are important. What AI does is basically solving this complex problem in a very simpler format. So you can simply, push the data into a AI service and get the output back, and then you can see the future forecast, which are basically have already accommodated these variables and given you the more accurate sales projections, right? Usually we divide forecasting in two parts. One is the demand, where you understand the resources, right, to optimize the cost, resource, increase the customer experience. For example, if you want to plan your inventory for the next quarter, next month, right? So these are the things which helps you a lot. And there is another forecasting which you can see as a growth forecasting, where you try to crucial, which is very crucial. Basically, you want to learn what will be the revenue, what will be the sales, and then you learn that what are the key identifiers, key features which are driving your revenue and sale, and then you basically move those or control those variables, and then make more effective business planning. So demand and growth for both forecastings are very important, and every organization does in today's date, one in another format, and even in Excel, or for example using some statistical method, right? OCI forecasting, what it does. So OCI forecasting, what we have is the fully managed service that is currently using the machine learning, statistical, and deep learning methods. It is capable of univariate, multivariate. So for example, if you have only primary data, which is having the historical sales of a product, or for example, you have like price, promotions, other additional variables, or and also it is capable of learning from one time series to another time series. So it can handle basically the univariate and multivariate both. It's a truly robust service. So basically, you really don't need to worry about the infra scale or anything. You just need to push the data and create a job, and that's it. And you'll get the result, right? What happens is that it runs with AutoML. So it is having, a stack of algorithms which runs together, and whichever comes best, that gives you the result, right? It also delivers the confidence interval. So basically, it gives you the upper and lower. So you can make a better decisions. That, for example, in a sales, if for a one product which is going to be, for example, you get a forecast that the next week sale is going to be 100 products, then it will be giving you 90 and 110 as an upper and lower, which you can basically use to utilize this. The right side image, what you are seeing is one of the screenshots what we have taken from our console, and you'll see the demo soon. So here you can see that the upper and lower, and you can see the actual forecast, right? It also gives you the result summary, where you can see how many number of methods, basically algorithm ran, what exactly the error measure it is used, what exactly the error score, what was the confidence interval. You can also see, was there any outlier detected, or for example, the missing value. So you will be able to have all these pre-processing and model result summary along with the results, which will help you, getting the more confidence on. Moving next, so why OCI forecasting, right? So it's a one-stop solution. For example, as I mentioned, you just need to call one API, and it will start from the automatic data pre-processing. So we take very simple data format, where you just need to give, for example, your product ID, your date, weekly date, or for example, the daily date, or whatever the timestamp you have, and then your volume, right? And it goes through the automatic data pre-processing section, where it identifies the missing values, and it fills those missing values using certain techniques. And then it also identifies and replace the outliers, which are at most important, right? It transforms the data at log scale if required. It aggregate the data, which is again one good feature, where, for example, if you have a daily sales data and you as a customer are interested to know what is my daily forecast, or what is my weekly forecast, what is my monthly forecast. So you really don't need to aggregate data at your end. You can simply configure while creating a job that your input is daily, and your output you are expecting weekly. You'll see a demo soon. But so these are the aggregations which are basically done. And once the data pre-processing section is done, it moves automatically into the automated best selection model selection section, where we have all the 18 methods currently, and we are adding it up. So all are the most of the methods what we have developed. There are certain methods which are our proprietary methods in the deep learning and the machine learning space, right? So whenever you provide the data and create a job, all the methods run, all the algorithms run for each time series, and whatever comes best as a ROCE error, that is basically chosen. So irrespective of the time series, right, there can be different models selected for different time series. So that is the one good thing what we have here. Basically, you really don't need to worry about that which algorithm I should select for which type of product. For example, in a retail store, you have green groceries, you have electronic items, you might have, for example, the snacks items, right? So you really don't need to worry that which method or which algorithm would be best for all these categories of products, right? Or for example, which type of product. Right, you simply need to just use the select automatically, and the best method will be selected. Once that is done, you can also see the summary like I showed you, and then you can also schedule those things, so it will be done automatically on a certain time. Once this model selection is done, it generates the forecast. It also gives you the explainability, which is our market differentiator, and gives a double click to any business user that what are the influencing features, why why these are important, and you can make a lot of decisions which you'll be seeing very soon, right? And then you can get the confidence interval as well. The explainability, which is, as I mentioned, the core differentiator, right? It tells you about the local feature importance and the global feature importance, right? For example, in the right side, right, what you're seeing, the global feature importance, it tells you at the overall data set level, whatever you have provided for a time series, right? And it tells that what are the features which are very important for your business. So here in global feature importance, if you see, it tells that your primary data might have a seasonality of weekly level, yearly level, or there will be a lag or lag effects, which is basically trend or level. So whether there's a trend or not, right, in your data. It also explains that whatever the additional data you provided. So if you have provided the promotion data, your store was open or closed for a daily sales, for example, there was any holidays or state level, national level, or school holiday, right? So these are the additional features you provided. And if one of the screenshots, you can clearly see that it tells that, okay, which is driving your sales, right? So it is saying that 65% of your sales is basically most of the time driven by your additional data. And your primary data is only 34%. So you can make a better decision that, okay, if that is the case, then should I be running? And in the additional data, you can see there is a 36% around the promotion is impacting your sales, right? So you can make a decision that, okay, if I run more promotions, then it will be, I can gain the more sales. These are the explainability comes out irrespective of the algorithm. So this is the unified experience you get, which we have recently cracked it. So even if you have a deep learning method selected, you will be having that smooth level of explainability, right? Or for example, statistical or machine learning selected. On the local feature important, which is having the different value proposition, it tells for the future. So for example, if you have forecasted for the next 14 days, right, it tells that, okay, the next one day, for example, you're saying for the next day, right, it tells what are the driving your sales. So what will be driving, what are the features are going to drive your future sales, right? So it tells that, okay, here on 2nd of June 2015, right, which is one of the future time step, you can see the promotion is driving your sales by 52%. So you know that this is the key feature. If so, that means that you cannot remove the promotion. You should not technically. And also, if you can wanna play around that, okay, if I push more promotions, there may be the higher number of sales, right? So these are the business decisions or planning you can quickly do. This is not available into the market, and when you use our OCI forecasting, that will be helping you a lot. As I mentioned, how to consume. It's a simple thing. One simple API call. You really don't need to worry about the infra part, scale part, or GPUs or CPUs, right? Or how many nodes you need to select and anything. You simply need to call our API, and the result. You just need to provide the data in object storage. Data will be picked from there, and automatically it will create forecast. It will generate the results, and it will store back into your object storage, which is within your tenancy, the cloud tenancy, right? And it will generate all the results in one go. So you really don't need to submit another job for confidence interval or for the explainability separately. So everything is done in one simple API call, right? Currently, we are in LA, so REST APIs are available. We are available on OCI console, which you will see the demo soon. SDK we are working on, and CLI will also be available in next couple of months. Let's see more closely that why we should use OCI forecasting apart from these differentiator. I'm just going to give you more double click. right? So just take an example of automobile sale, what we have as a data. So there's a company which is having one automobile product. You can say 15 automotive is one of the product's name, and you can see there is a sale, and you can also see that whether there was how many promotions were running. So here you can see zero, but in certain days there are certain promotions running on, right? And it will tell you. So if you take a look here, right, for the same data, right, the first one, when you can see when the pre-promotion, there was when there was no promotion running for from 2000 January 2013 to March 2014, there were no promotions running, as you saw the zero here, right? When it was not running, the sales were like very flat, and it was not going beyond. So the average was around 1 to 2 to 3, right? And after promotions, when companies started running promotions after March 2014 till 17, if you can see the second graph, right, you can see that then there is a trend. There is a more dense data. You can see the promotion has gone, the sale has gone up from 2 to average 6. So you can see a trend line also moving up, right, which was earlier 0 to 2, 0 to 4, and this is now 2 to 6. So this is very easy, and this is basically from the historical data. Why I'm showing it here, just to tell that when you are doing these analysis, we learned that, okay, before promotion there was hardly sales, and after promotion it started giving you sales. But it's not easy in the real world, because when you have more variables, as I mentioned, for example, here we have only one variable, which is promotion. There may be price, there may be the customer churn rate, conversion rate, right? Or there may be store locations, weather. There may be a lot of data, right? It will not be then that easy for us to plot this diagram and understand that how the complex relationships are working between these variables, and then it is driving eventually your sales, right? It was one variable, so it was very easy to see. But now you see the right side where we have run this one. So when we ran this data, and you will quickly see the demo on the same data, it will be very easy to visualize. When we ran this, you get the forecast, which is the first image which you are seeing here. But explainability clearly tells you that your promotion is driving your sale 95% and overall 81%. So that gives you your complex work is done by explainability, and that's why I'm re-emphasizing that even if you have more complex variables, which you will be seeing very soon, right, it is going to tell you that which is most influencing features. Now in a business, you might consider that, okay, with you certain times you might ignore that my churn rate is basically not very influencing feature. It is nowhere related to my sales. But yes, of course, once you provide this data and run this forecast, you will quickly learn that whether your churn rate, even the customer experience rate, there is an NPS ratings, right? These are also driving your sales, right? Which often we don't see. So in explainability, that everything is going to come out, that what is important and which is positively impacting your sales and what is negatively impacting your sales, right? So these are the things which will be very evident when we use the forecasting, and that's why you say forecasting gives a value proposition where you not only get the results, forecast result, or the confidence interval, but gets the explainability, which tells you to make your business planning more efficiently. So here I'll be handing over to Tara to run a poll, and then Chirag, who is part of our team, he'll just be giving you the demo.
So for this demo, we will consider a use case of sales forecasting, which is critical for strategic planning for many businesses such as retail. The problem becomes more complex as retailers keeps on adding new stores and products. Also, certain products can be discontinued. In addition to historical sales, it is often get affected by unpredictable product marketing and promotions, different weather conditions, and different pricing strategies. Last but not the least, ever transitioning seasonal tastes of the customer makes it super complex. So, correct forecasting is important from a business perspective, as if our forecast assumed fewer products sold than the actual demand, then we lose profit. On the other hand, if our forecast was overestimated, so we actually sell fewer products, we also lose, we incur the cost of product stock, or worse, our products expire. One bad forecast has a business, production, and logistical consequences. So for this demo, let's take an example where a retailer want to predict the future sales of next 14 days of 20 of its products, having daily sales, historical from past 4 years, ranging from May 1st of 2018 to July 17 of 2022. So the data can be put into an easy format consisting of just 3 columns, which is like towards the left is a primary file where we can actually clearly see that what is the sales on a particular date. That's the only 3 columns that we need, like what is the product name or the item ID, date, and the corresponding sales on that day. In addition to that, we can actually add the few related features. For example, promotions, like how many promotions happened on that day. Is there a holiday or not? Is the store open or not? All those kind of variables we can actually pass corresponding to that date. So I'll actually quickly jump onto the demo. So once we actually log into the OCI console, we can see, we can actually go over here and select the forecasting service. We land to this page, we just go to the projects. The very first thing that we can actually do is just go and create a project. So in this case, I just use the created one. Under this, the very first thing that we need to do is go and create the data assets. When we actually go to creating the data assets, what it does, I'll just press this button. Okay, you just go and give some name. For example, I just want to put up a primary file. So as shown in the screenshot, that we need primary and additional. Therefore, I can actually give like primary of, let's say, some automotive data set. And then from the object storage where we have the CSVs residing, you can just go and select that bucket. In this example, this is, and then I can just go and select that. For example, primary, I can just go and select that CSV and just hit the create button. Similar way, we can actually go and create the additional files also, or the metadata. So I have already added them. Now, upon that, after creating that data assets, we just have to hit the button of create forecast. Once we actually hit the button of create forecast, we'll land on to a screen. I have like filled up these values already. So I'll just go through that screen where we just need to like select the data asset that we created, like choose the existing one or just go and create the one. It will just navigate to the same screen. Here I just selected the primary. For the additional, there is an additional. Okay, then hit the next button. Once you actually hit the next button, we have to define that what are the columns in the CSV that we provided. For example, there are 3 columns: item ID, date, and sales. What are their data types? So this is like string, this is date, and this is double. Similarly, in promotions, we can actually have item ID, date, on promotion, and as shown in the example, there are like multiple columns that I've shown, like is holiday, is store open or not, but just for a scope of the demo, I've just kept it 1. But we can actually go and add multiple columns. And then we just go on to the next screen, give some name, example forecast, okay, give some description like some verbose. And then what is the interval of the data? As we have seen in the example that the data actually ranges from 1st of May of 2018 to 17th of July of 2022. So that's a daily data. Like that means there are like daily dates of 1st May, 2nd May, 3rd May, and so on. So therefore, that's just 1 day interval, and hence it's daily data. Now comes the question like how many days we actually want to forecast in the future. Therefore, this number, one can actually come and put as per their business objective, which is like 14 in this use case, but can be anything. It totally depends on the business objective. Then we actually allow the user to actually put the custom prediction interval width. So people may be interested between, let's say 1090 interval, which the width is 80, or someone may be interested into 70% or 90% width. So like 595, 2080, all those kind of things. There are like certain error measures based on the business objective that one need to define. So you just go and like pick one. And then if just for the starting, one can actually just go and choose algorithms automatically. Otherwise, we can actually choose the algorithm from this like list of like some 18 algorithms, which ranges from statistical to machine learning to deep learning algorithms. So for simplicity, I just like select automatically, do next, and it's just a review screen. Just press the button submit. Wait for some time and the forecast will be ready. So your forecast will actually come into this table. You can just like monitor it. So there are different stages that you'll see in. So just for keeping time in mind, I've actually created a certain forecast. For example, I've actually selected one of the model, which is called profit. And there is a forecast horizon of 14 days on the data set. Okay. So now when we have actually fitted profit on this data, we can actually see that this green is the actual data provided. This blue is the fitted line. And if we see this, it's only the primary data that we have actually provided. We have not provided any like additional information. So therefore, I've actually just given a nomenclature that way. There's no metadata provided that way. So if we look just based on the historical sales, so we are just kind of like extrapolating the seasonality. So it like looks more of a seasonal. There is no trend. And that's what we can actually come and see in the explanations also. So yearly seasonality, like at the global level, is the maximum, followed by the weekly seasonality, and there's a very minimal effect on the level and the trend components, and that's what we can actually see from the graph also. We can actually go and look at every time step in the future, which in our case is 14 timestamps in the future, which is like there's 1, 2, 3, and so 14 values. So for example, this 17th February, 27th February 9th. If we see change this, okay, we can actually just go and see the different effects changing. In parallel to it, on the same data set with the same model, if we actually go and add the additional data, which in this case is promotions, we see a better fit happening. Okay, it's able to learn the effect of promotions on the sales, and therefore the sales keeps on increasing. And if we just compare these two plots side by side, this was like more of an average line that we actually end up, because that was only the historical sales. But now, because promotions has a very strong effect, therefore we can actually see a very nice fit happening. And that's a hypothesis that we can actually even understand from the explainability plots, where like at the global level, we just see like additional data has the maximum importance, which is like 81.5%. And if we just go and like validate that on every time in the future using the local feature importance, which is if we actually see this value is low, okay. So promotion is like going in negative, right? It's actually, and also like weekly, it's actually pulling the value down. So that's what like the value is low. And if we actually look at, let's say this timestamp, okay. So on promotion, so promotion started becoming positive. So it's actually pulling your sales up. And that's what we can see, that there's a good peak happening. Your sales value started growing up, which means it is a very good effect of the promotion on this day. So this is an example of a particular model, which is profit in this case. But if we actually just do the same activity without knowing like, oh, what is the model? I don't want to actually, or if anyone is not having an idea that which model to choose, just choose AutoML as a de facto settings. In this, we'll actually see that not profit, but the other model just with the primary data, okay, no additional, nothing, only the primary data. It actually just learned there is like some model which is being picked amongst these 11 models, okay. This model actually picked a very nice trend line. So that's what happened in this case. But as we actually add the additional to the same, we actually see a very similar plot. Okay, so amongst these 11 methods which are suitable for this data set, there's this model being picked, which is in this case is anyways profit only. And it actually just learned the very similar patterns. And that is like clearly seen again in the same plot. So we are actually getting the same thing out of the AutoML also. So this is like just like one series for an example I've just like added to this data set. But if is for a practical scenarios, the people actually who runs the retail businesses, they have like hundreds or like thousands of products. Okay, or let's say even like hundreds of thousands of products and so on. Therefore, we actually provide this capability of just go and pass the whole sheet, the whole list of products. Okay, and there we can actually see like multiple products where we actually got the forecast ready. Now we actually just go and like pick some series where we actually want to see that, oh, I just want to observe this series. And there we can actually see like amongst the 18 methods which were suitable for this series, like some best method got selected. And when we actually did the pre-processing, so there were like 9 outliers detected. So we just like corrected them. There was no missing date or the missing values. So there was nothing applied. And hence we can actually see a very nice fit happening on this data again. And if we just have to understand, oh, what is the effect, okay, on this data, this is another data of 20 series, not the one series. We can actually see that promotion doesn't have that strong of an effect. Okay, it's majorly the lags and the seasonality. Okay, so weekly seasonality at the global level is maximum, but particularly to this date, the weekly seasonality is pulling the sales down. That's why it's negative. Okay, it's most prominent, but it's negative. Okay, and if you just look at, see, that's like it's low. And if you just look at other value, it started increasing, and therefore this effect started becoming like somewhat positive as compared to the previous time step, because it's now start growing gradually. Okay, so this is the effect that we can actually even see from the plots and can be actually observed or understood from the explainability plots also. Yeah, so now I hand over this to Akash.
So I think I hope you have learned how exactly the forecasting is working. It's very simple. It doesn't take much time to just set the configuration and create a job. When you are when you are implementing the API, it will be mostly in automated way, and you will simply get the results. As I mentioned, the console was what Chirag was presenting. It was more like the console, but you can get the results in CSVs, in JSONs, right? And that you can integrate with your applications. Or for example, if you are using Oracle's cloud analytics, there also you can visualize, or you can just get the data back, results back into your Oracle ADW or any other database which you are using, right? Just to move on it, how exactly you can run this, which is free of cost currently, right? And it will remain free. But just to give you that how it works, so you can see here. You can see this this Oracle Cloud. So this is what we say as a live lab, right? And the link will be provided to you along with this deck soon. So this is the Oracle Live Lab. You can search on Google also, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Forecasting Live Lab. And that helps you to run this. Whatever you were seeing, the same data set are already available as a sample. And so you can see two options will be coming when you start running up. One is run on your tenancy. So for example, you are already having the Oracle's tenancy, and you want and you have already whitelisted that. So you can request us. We will be sharing an email ID. If you have Oracle tenancy and you want to get that whitelisted, you want to try for your customers or for your own business, you can simply request us and we can whitelist, and then you can start. We can also support you, me and Chirag and other team members can always support you as a SPOC to guide you that how you can evolve the use case and implement at the customer's place or business place, right? So that is for them who are already having the tenancy whitelisted. And then second, most of the folks who are the first time users, and they really want to just try out, but they really don't want to have the Oracle account or everything immediately ready. Simply they can just run on the live lab sandbox. You will set up and it will guide you, and it will create it'll give you credentials on your email IDs. The session will be available for next 2 hours, and you will be having, so let me just show you what exactly it shows. As soon as your session is ready, you will simply you can get to know that, okay, there are two methods which you can execute. So if someone is having some data science understanding and they want to run the Python notebooks, they can simply use the option 2, just to have a simplified version, the same what Chirag was trying to show you. You can use it as an option 1, which takes hardly 20 minutes, and you can start from here. You'll see that introduction, and then it tells you that what are the prerequisites, and then you can start. So it will be giving you the screenshots, and it will be telling that what are the next steps you need, and you can just follow the screens, and then follow the steps what I mentioned below, and then you will be sorted. The data what I was mentioning, what we were presenting, you can see you have the same primary and additional data. You can simply click and download, and when you are using the console, like in demo you saw that you can upload it, you will be able to upload the same data, right? And then you, once you upload it, there are the screens what was presented, and you can use the same thing. So this is going to help you a lot. It doesn't take more than 20-30 minutes to set up everything and get ready with your results. For example, in the same session, if you have your own data and you want to try it out, you can just create the results and get the then using the result file, you can just download the result zip, and you can analyze also, right? So this is very easy to start, and then anytime you can just connect with us on our email ID, or through multiple channels what we have, and then we are happy to connect you back. So let's take an example. Since it's a generic service, what we say, so it is not bound to be a sales forecasting, right? What we were just using as an example because it is very easy to relate with each other, and yeah. So, so basically, every organization, right, irrespective of the domain they are in, they may be in the retail, they may be in banking, healthcare, utility, like you are seeing on the right side, right? You need certain matrices, right? As I mentioned in the beginning, you will have a demand of your sales or services, right? Your organization must be having a customer support team, or for example, the operations team, where you would be looking for workforce management, that how many resources are required. So basically how many customer tickets are going to come in which particular channel it is going to come. So for example, for certain customers, it may come on Twitter, LinkedIn, or for example, your emails, chat, phone calls, SMS, right? So these are the multiple channels. So you want to forecast that how many emails, chats you're going to get, and then you put right resources there. So these are the forecasting use cases for workforce management, the incident forecasting, what we say, or customer tickets forecasting, right? Similarly, you can just do a customer traffic forecasting. You can do a sales and expense. So these are the few matrices, and there are a few more which are very generic in nature, and every organization needs. So wherever you are working, you must be looking for these matrices for sure. And so our service can simply take this as the data, like you like you saw into the demo. And similarly, the industry specific forecasting that can be where we are engaging currently with the customers for the ATM cash managements, for example, sales and loans, insurance, retail, healthcare, transportation, the shipment forecasting, utility, energy and water forecasting, right? Information where you have the compute or storage forecasting, network and web traffic forecasting. So our service can support the metric specific, which are very generic, and also it can support the industry specific, because you can provide the additional data and the metadata, which can basically provide as a domain, information along with your primary data, right? So service is totally generic since we support 18 methods, statistical to deep learning. And so it becomes very easy that any model which may have a good fit with your data set in either the industry specific or the metric specific, and then you will achieve the good accuracy. Unlike many other services, or for example, wherever we have the forecasting, what I have seen with the customers, that we rely on couple of models. And then as soon as you have, for example, in an organization where you may have the sales and service forecast, but and you already have deployed a couple of models which you have tuned it. But as soon as you get the workforce management, how many tickets you are going to get, you may need to have the separate forecasting system specifically built for that particular application or use case, right? So that becomes complex in nature, because you need to have multiple models innovated again and again. But here in this, you just have one API implemented and sorted. You just need to keep providing us the different data, and it will be keep giving you the forecast as per your use cases, right? Currently, the forecasting use cases, what we are solving, where we have the incident forecasting, where we have the external customers also. I'll just show you the references, right? And then we have water demand forecasting, energy forecasting. Then there is a sales forecasting, capacity planning forecasting for hardware, and shipment forecasting, that how many shipments or how many are going to have from one city to another city. So logistics and transportation can be, made with better planning, right? So one of the customers currently with us, we got is currently integrating with us and in the pilot run they have done it, right? So they are one of the Indian startups where they have a lot of sensors, more than 70,000 sensors in residential and commercial sites. And they really want to do a water demand forecasting, so the administrator can procure the water more efficiently and avoid the water wastage, which is like the scarcity in life. And the second thing is they can also do a budget and planning and everything. And often we don't notice, but when I was working with them, I realized that there are tenants like the different organizations in an IT park, or where exactly a lot of companies are they available in the commercial side. But there are some open areas, there are some parks, cafeterias, and all, and which are basically coming under the IT park administration. So they really want that what is the water consumption there, and they should be procuring the water accordingly, so they don't go they don't have the water shortage, or basically they can plan things better. So currently they are integrating with us, and during the pilot we were able to, we remain under 10% of errors overall, the committed the threshold, and they can see a lot of benefit, and that's what they are just going ahead with us. Ipiranga is another one of the customers who is in Brazil, and they are doing the service incident forecasting. So their the use case was that their the operations, or basically the service tickets or customer tickets, were managed by the third party, and they wanted to negotiate with them that how many resources they need for next 3 months. So they are using our service, so they know that okay, how many service tickets or how many customer tickets they are going to get in next 3 months. So basis on that, they go and then negotiate with the third party service provider that we need only these many resources, so we are just going to provide you this much of cost, right? So that's basically reducing huge their operating cost, and they are currently using our service in their production. So after that, you can see the AI resources. You have our website. You can search OCI forecasting, and it is available. And then there's a live lab which I mentioned. There are product blocks which you can have a more detailed on. Which we have. It gives you more insight, which we have discussed here, and it tells that where exactly it applies. But these are the key differentiators and everything. You can take a look. Then there's an M6 competition, what we have recently won, a very prestigious competition, and our OCI forecasting team has recently won it. So you do give a read here, and that tells that the team what we have is how much confident and nailing the problem, right? And then you can take a look of the reference architecture blog. So these are the published blogs, and you can take a look. For the more details, you can reach out to us, AI Services contact_group@oracle.com, and we will be happy to support you. Currently, our service is in LA, and we are integrating and engaging with the customer. Currently, there is no cost on the service, so you can use for next few months till 8th of June, when we are planning to go GA, which will be the product launch. And till that time, so we are not charging. You can try, you can give us a feedback. Also, you can integrate, you can start using in production, because currently we are supporting productions. And then and we are expanding in the multiple regions also. So currently we are in Phoenix and Ashburn, but customers are using from India and other places also. And if you need in certain other regions, just to let us know. We will be happy to deploy if there is a business commitment before 8th of June. And then there's an upcoming event which you can find out on this link, and you can provide us the feedback. over to you, Tara.
And thank you all for joining us here today. We hope that you have a great rest of your day and that we get to see you again next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.